Welcome to our 6th Leon County Humane Society Rescue Podcast. We have a special episode for you today. Today we're interviewing Lynn Barr and Susan Fordham, two of our incredible bottle baby fosters. And we're going to be talking about what it means to be a bottle baby foster, what's involved, and their experiences. So my name is Katie Stryker. I am the Director of Advocacy and Community Education. And then, would you like to introduce?
I'm Susan Fordham. I have been fostering with the Humane Society since 2015. Don't know how many kittens.
We know that it's at least 58.
Yes, and I know I have two that were adopted from there, that were fosters.
And Lynn?
Very good. I'm Lynn Barr, and I've fostered with the Humane Society since 2020. I do both puppies and kittens, but I prefer puppies.
And Lynn has at least 56 dogs and kittens fostered, but she also tag teams a lot of puppies with other fosters so that they get some relief and are able to take some time, and we're able to save more. So when you take in a bottle baby foster, what you're looking at is every 2 hours at first, feeding. Puppies and kittens aren't able to go to the bathroom on their own, so they also have to stimulate, and they're the most fragile population in rescue. A lot can go wrong when you have bottle babies. You have to be monitoring their weight, their intake, making sure that they're healthy, making sure that they're kept separate from other animals. There's a lot that's involved. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your day looks like, Susan, when you're bottle baby fostering?
When they are when they're very young until they're about 3 weeks old, it's every 2 or 3 hours. I set my alarm. I have the formula ready to go, and my paper towels and my heating pad is all, my heating pad is my savior. And I plan my day around that.
And it's nighttime too. I think a lot of people forget.
Oh yes, it's until I wait probably too long till they're a pound each, and these are kittens. And then I can go from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. So your sleep is interrupted, but it's worth it. You get to play with the sweet kittens.
Anything to add for what your day-to-day looks like, Lynn?
Mine is not as bad. With puppies, you don't have to get up as frequently. It's usually every 3 to 4 hours at first. Again, the heating pad. My big thing when I get the really, really little ones is I like to put them in an incubator, because then I don't have to worry about if it's warm enough, if they roll away from the heat or anything. I just know that the ambient temperature is good. Yeah, that's basically it. Every 3 to 4 hours, getting up and feeding these little guys and making sure they're not dehydrated, and listening to them and making sure they don't need to hurry and go to the vet if there's something wrong with them.
Now, Lynn and Susan are absolute superheroes. I'm an employee of LCHS, and I've had my share of fosters. I've had about 40, but only a few of them have been bottle babies. So I have questions too. You guys are the experts to me. For small breed puppies and large breed puppies, is it the same process or is it different?
For me, for puppies, it's the same. I've had from Chihuahuas to really large, German Shepherd puppies. And, the stomach capacity will differ, but it's still the same every 3 to 4 hours. It really doesn't matter. But you do have to check and see what that stomach capacity is, and I've got a little chart that I look at, because some of these will just guzzle, and then they will spit up, and then when they spit up, they aspirate, and then when they aspirate, they have to go to the vet and get penicillin, and sometimes they're too little to even get that. So You have to really watch, even though it's easy to say, oh, mine is such a good eater. That's not always the best thing to do.
And I think there are a lot of people that think it's just, it's natural, they know what to do, it'll be okay, and it's really not. You have to supervise.
No, I have greedy kitties. I got one that will eat, and I have to take it away, yes. And then she screams at me, but...
I was going to say, you were nodding at the chart. Do you have charts that you
definitely.
use?
Yeah. I have a chart with their names on it. They get weighed every day, a couple times a day. whether they peed or pooped, and I always know what they were doing that day. So
Like if they were more active.
right, you know,
Sleepier.
okay, honey's been a little sleepy today, but the other two are running around, and yes, I chart everything. Oh, they ate food today, first time, litter box, you know. So
Like a little baby book for us.
yes,
And go ahead.
yes, that's a baby book.
Yeah. And that's a lot of work. I know that you guys have very supportive spouses. How supportive? Do they help out? Do they do feedings?
My husband, yes, he does the feeding. He's not so good at the bathroom, but when they get older, he'll feed them. Like if I don't get home by 6 o'clock, he'll have them fed for me. Especially while I was working and he retired, I could take more kittens because he would do the middle of the day feeding so I could finish work, and then so he's very supportive.
Good.
And we started when my kids were teenagers. They've done a lot too.
Yeah, they got involved.
Oh yes, definitely.
Do they like when you bring home new kittens?
Yes.
Yes.
they are out of the house now, so but I have my husband now. So
And how about you, Lynn? I saw him yesterday at the event, so I know that he's all in.
My husband is very involved, but he will not do the bottles.
Okay.
He will not touch it. He's afraid of them when they're really, really little. He will hold them and he'll socialize them. He'll clean up after them, but he will not do the bottles. Once they're onto gruel and things, he's all in. But my daughter's in town and she helps me out, and then just the network of people that I've met through the Humane Society that I can rely on. If I'm busy, hey, can you go over to my house and go in and bottle feed this one for me? And the answer is always yes.
I love that community. That's so sweet that people are willing to step up and do that. Was it ever a challenge getting them on board? Were they ever like, whoa, so many kittens and puppies. What's going on? I know mine has said that, so I'm just
No, but every once in a while, my husband will sit there and he'll say, do you know we have 12 puppies in this house right now? And of course he's counting, like 6 bottle babies in an incubator and then 3 running around and something else. But I'm like, it's just better not to think about it.
Let's not use numbers here.
do yours run around the house, or do you have a dedicated room?
What I do, when they're really, really, right now I've got a bottle baby that's 3 weeks old. That one is in a packet plate with a heating pad on one half of it, and then pee pads on the other half, so you can kind of walk around. Then I've got 2 that are ready to be adopted. They have free range of the kitchen. Then I have 3 Chihuahuas that are just now 8 weeks old. They came in as bottle babies too. They're mainly in our guest bathroom. We have like a walk-in shower, and that's kind of where they go play. And then what I have to do is I have to move the older puppies into the main house with my dogs and let the Chihuahuas have the kitchen. So I pretty much separate them all until I know everybody has had all their shots. So right now the Chihuahuas are not done, so they can't mix. And then of course the bottle baby has nothing, so he mixes with nobody.
Right. Okay. I have a dedicated room, which my art room is also the kitten foster room. And I just do kittens. But once they're all vetted and they kind of run the house, they run around the house upstairs. So
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to hear because I know every individual foster has sort of a different way that they make it work. Like sometimes my bathroom is a good spot, sometimes the office is a good spot, but everybody's able to sort of find a way. And the thing that I really love about bottle babies is they can stay in a little spot for so long. It's just like you don't need a room for them. You can just have them in a little kennel on a heating pad, and they're just little jelly beans.
Yeah.
For me, it's a lot harder when they want free reign of the house and all that, and then they get hard to contain.
Right.
So it's more intense, like labor-wise, when they're babies, and you have, every 2 to 3 hours. But it is sort of nice when they're in that little kennel.
yes,
Yeah.
I have, the little carrier, a bigger place when they start fumbling around, and then I have the big playpen that they live in until they start running the house.
The only bad thing that I would say though about bottle babies that makes them a little bit more difficult than when they're running around chewing and making a mess and things is when you get that one that isn't a good eater.
Yeah.
And you're struggling and you don't know why, and then it ends up taking forever to feed that one. And then instead of like feeding every 2 to 3 hours, you feel like you're never sleeping.
Yeah,
because
it's
you're
almost time again
struggling.
by the time.
Peter Pan, I call them. I have a Miss Peter Pan. 2 of them are eating food. The other one, I said, bottle. Bottle.
Still a baby.
Yes, I call him Peter Pan. Doesn't want to grow up.
Well, I mean, that kind of leads us into, like, do you have a foster that has sort of stuck with you that was difficult, that you had to try every trick in the book? Like, what are some of your last resort things, and how do you handle it when they're just not picking it up?
I had a kitten, and I ended up adopting him, and his name is Zeus. And he would not eat, and I could not figure it out. And, you know, I would do the weighing, and I had to feed that kitten for, I want to say, 4 weeks with a syringe, and not a miracle nipple, but a syringe to make sure it was actually going down his throat. Come to find out, when he got older, his bottom jaw was not developed right, so he could not have sucked, and that was what was wrong. But he was so little, you couldn't tell that that's what the problem was. So if I hadn't, or someone else had not syringe fed that kitten, he would not have made it. And even today, he because his teeth are misaligned and his jaw is just not quite right, he's a very healthy, happy kitty, but he has to eat mostly wet food because he just can't crunch the food. So a lot of times you get puppies and kittens, and you really, it's a struggle, and you just have to get through it to figure out what is wrong with. And then some of them you get, some of the puppies I get, they will not take that formula if it is not a certain temperature. If I don't feed, if they struggle and then I go and I heat it back up, then they'll eat it. And some of them I heat it up and they don't want it, and I have to put cold water in and shake it up, give it to them, and they'll take it.
Yeah, I have a coffee cup that has, I make it a certain, and I keep the bottle in there until, and then it gets back in while I'm messing with them. Oh, we have our tricks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had a baby, and she came to me. She was a few days old. Took the bottle, wonderful. She got up to where she should be eating food, and she started eating food, but she would throw it up. She had a high anal hernia, so it had got stuck here. So she would eat the food, and it would come right back up. And I mean, it was tough. We found out that she had to have a lick pad so that she didn't. So she would take her time and very slowly. And that was my special needs. And of course, the ones that don't thrive, no matter what you do, we have the babies that just won't thrive, and you don't know why. They're eating, they gain weight, and all of a sudden, poof.
Well, I mean, like the 2 stories that you guys just told, sometimes there's stuff that you just can't see that's going on inside of them, and sometimes you're able to figure out what that is, and sometimes it either takes a very long time for you to figure it out, or it never comes up, because so many of these kittens are born with congenital issues that we don't know about. But it's hard because you blame yourself. You're like, I must be doing it wrong. There must be something that I can do to fix it.
It wasn't warm enough, yes.
Right.
You do, but, experience. You take out your bag of tricks and you figure it out. And of course, the support from the Leon County Humane Society and
Paws and Claws.
Paws and Claws. I mean, I think I met you at Paws and Claws.
I'm either there or
I'm sure you're both in there a lot,
Yes.
Yeah, Ox Bottom for puppies and Paws and Claws for kittens is generally what we do, and they're both really great at getting to the root of it, because it's definitely not always easy to figure out the ones that are difficult. But a lot of places, especially like maybe 10 years ago, I mean, how often were we just hearing failure to thrive, fading kitten syndrome, that's it. And now we're able to sort of dig a little deeper and find out what that is and problem solve and go the extra mile to make sure that they make it and start to thrive again. So we're definitely saving more.
Oh, absolutely.
Every year, I think we're able to find that loophole and save a one that we wouldn't have been able to, and that's always nice.
Absolutely.
Like recently, we found, actually it was Amy that found it, a certain bottle that is for preemie babies.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been a godsend to me because every single puppy loves it, and none of them have been choking or aspirating since we've had this bottle. And I will never try another bottle until I get somebody that
Until it doesn't work on someone.
Right? It's like the best bottle ever. I used to struggle, and this puppy will take this nipple, and this puppy will take this. They all take this one.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
Oh yes, the miracle nipples for the kittens.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing they've ever made.
Yeah, I remember when we started using those,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden we were like, we need to order. Every day I felt like we were ordering more miracle nipples because everyone was finding out how great they are and how well they latched on them.
And they last much longer.
They do.
The kittens don't, when they get their little teeth, they don't bite the tips off and flood themselves.
And there's also, like, I remember trying to get the hole the right size.
Oh my
and
goodness!
You don't have to do that with
how
Miracle.
many
That's
how many
miserable.
how many
Awful.
needles and heating it up, and then you get it too big.
And then you have to. And then that might be your last nipple, and you're like,
Yes,
yeah.
syringe.
So I know the ones that were difficult. A lot of the time, we end up just keeping those because they're like very close to us. But is there one that you can think of where you adopted them out and the adopter has kept in touch, and you're able to sort of see them thrive in their homes?
Yes, I have several. I always add my phone number, and they always get baby pictures sent to them. If they reach back out to me, I give them the option, and they'll, if you want baby pictures.
It's a pretty tempting offer. I mean, I want
am.
baby pictures. of
Oh,
my babies.
definitely. I mean, and of course, I have a couple friends that adopted. But my health insurance guy, the insurance guy, he adopted 2 last year, and every time I see him, I get updates, and through the school system, I have 2 black and whites that I get to. That she sends me pictures all the time.
It's a very funny connection that you build with people. Like sometimes I'll get how do you know them? Like how are you friends with them? And I'm like, well, I adopted a cat to them, so now we're friends forever, I guess. But
Yes. I've got, I have, a group, and Katie, you know them very well, that we called them the Pirates. They were the 3 puppies. I'll probably cry talking about them, but
understandable.
anyway.
Here, when they came in, we were actually doing our volunteer appreciation event, and Amy brought in these puppies that had been left outside, and they had ants crawling all over them, and they had suffered damage to their eyes because they were left in just outside. The elements had started setting in. And I remember Lynn walking up to that carrier and peeking in at these puppies, and she was just a goner. I knew that they were going home with Lynn. Amy was supposed to take them home after that event, but they didn't make it home with Amy. They went straight home with Lynn.
And they were absolutely sweet, but each one of them ended up losing an eye. One of them kept the eye, but it's not functional, but it's not
clouded.
diseased, so it can stay. But actually, a very good friend of mine that was in college with me adopted 2 of the bonded pair together. So Bear and Cougar went together, and I get pictures all the time of those 2, which is great. And then Raven is still in town. We haven't been in touch with that foster. We think that they might have moved, and so we've kind of lost contact with where they are, but we keep looking. And then I have a lot of other puppies that just have been adopted at different places in town, and they all keep in touch, and they send the pictures, and here's our birthday party for ourselves. And it's so funny because we'll drive around town, Dana and I will, and be like, oh, this is where Oreo lives. Oh, so-and-so lives down here. And it's never like the name of the foster. It's, oh, this is where this puppy lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's nice.
Doing it for so long, your friends all get their babies, and then you start, then the Humane Society are adopting them out to people, and it's hard to keep up with all of them. Yes. I had 5 kittens, and that was before their eyes were open, so, and they had the ringworm.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 5 of them, little tabby boys. They were all boys too, 5 of them. And one stayed because once he went back to Leon County Humane Society, I think he got ringworm again.
Oh, the worst.
Which is the worst. I mean, once you get it, so he was close to an adult when he was adopted. And somebody put out on, I think it was the Tally Cat Cafe, that has anybody had this one as a baby? That his name was Ralph. And of course, Lisa, she texted me and oh yeah, here.
I love that group. That's my favorite part of Facebook is the Tally Cat Fosters and Adopters group because
I have pictures. Here you go.
so sweet seeing them being loved on the way that we know they deserve. Does it get easier or harder, would you say, sending them home? Because, I mean, you guys have been doing this for years, but I know for me it doesn't really get any easier. I'm sad every time I say bye.
I make sure that they know that I'm coming to the office, to the Humane Society, and they know that basically it's a handoff right then. Intake, and I leave because then I cry all the way home.
Yeah, I don't think it gets any easier.
No. Especially, like, some of them are easier than others because especially when I know where they're going, like I'm sending them to a great home and it's a perfect fit and they're driving me crazy at my house. Those ones are a little easier, but there are some where it's, it's been a long journey, it's been difficult, and you just have to sort of hope for the best with them, and those are hard. But I think that we do a good job and they still end up in a good spot.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't get easier, but knowing that they're going to a home, especially if the people are asking you questions, it is easier.
Yeah.
So
We just had a puppy foster that I was kind of helping learn how to do it. And she just passed off one of her puppies to its forever home. And it was somebody that she knew very well, and she felt very good about it. And she told me at the Amicus event, she said, I didn't know it was going to be so hard. I cried myself to sleep. It was so terrible. She said, but as soon as I get over this, I'm ready to do it again.
But I want more.
Ask me as soon as they go, okay, I'm ready for the next one.
Yeah. No, I remember after I dropped off my first foster, I sat in my car and cried, and Deidre was like, you need to take time. You have to wait before you get your next one. And I couldn't. I got another foster like the next day because I was like, I need to fill that void. I need to keep going. So
It's easier to keep going.
yes, it is, because then you fall right back in love with the next one.
They're also, they're every one of them special. This is my most special group I have right now.
And I'll say the same thing about the next one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So dropping them off, getting them ready for adoption, that's probably not the favorite milestone, but what is your favorite milestone when you're raising the bottle babies?
I have 2. When they start the gruel, when they so that they're not crawling up your legs wanting the bottle while you're trying another one, but so they can kind of nibble on the food, and the litter box.
Yeah.
We celebrate. I dance around the house. You used the litter box, and no more yell.
I love when they use the litter box for the first time and they scream the entire time. I think that's so funny.
And their eyes are glazed, but yes, yeah.
You can tell it's a life-changing event for them. It's so cute. What about you, Lynn?
For me, since I usually get little bitty ones, I like when they first open their eyes so that you can kind of see who it is that you're dealing with. I like that. And then, yes, it's whenever they transition to gruel so that I'm not getting up in the middle of the night getting out of the bottle.
Absolutely.
When I can sleep more than 6 hours, it's great.
Yes, it's hard not to love that milestone.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That's
I love the messy faces when they first eat the gruel, and it's so like sometimes you trade off, like you don't have to do the bottle anymore, but I have had a couple that were just so bad at it that I have to give a bath afterward. You're so messy.
Yeah.
All right, and then it's hard handing them off to an adopter, but what's harder is we talked a little bit about fading kitten syndrome and how there can be all of these problems that we're not able to see, and all of the work that we put in, like weighing them daily and making sure that they're not going downhill, or doing penicillin, which for those that don't know, penicillin has to be administered at the vet's office, and it has to be administered at the same time, and it has to be administered for several days in a row. So that is like 5 days usually where you have to
5 to
drive.
10.
5 to 10 days where you have to drive to the vet, usually early in the morning. Same time
9
every
o'clock.
day. Yeah, those ones drain me. And then sometimes it just doesn't work out and you're not able to save them after expending all of that energy. What do you guys do when you lose one? Like, do you take a break? Do you have a self-care regimen? What happens?
Well, hopefully if one does pass, there's others that you still have to take care of, and that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Is having those others to take care of. Because in our hearts, we know that we've done everything that we've tried everything, and we've done everything we can. And you just have to think, they're warm, they're full if they're eating, and they've been loved.
Yeah.
What more?
A lot of them don't get that.
No,
Yeah.
they could be outside, they could be, we try to keep them as comfortable as possible. And they usually die in our arms because they're sleeping with us,
Yeah.
So they're warm, they're loved, and they're, full as much as you can. And that carries you through.
Yeah.
That makes, so.
Yeah. And like you said, I generally never have just one.
Right.
So there's always, and unfortunately sometimes this happened to me twice, where I had bottle babies and I lost both of them. One was
That was how we met.
Yeah.
one was 2 kittens that were practically drowned. They were on the side of the road in a carrier. Somebody had just thrown them out and it filled up with water. So, we really didn't think they were going to make it, and they didn't. But for 5 days, they were eating and they were warm, but
And they were loved.
succumbed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually probably have more than 2 now that I think about which ones they were. But
Yeah, I try to.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just
You have to
keep
focus
going.
on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep going and focus on the next one, because there are just, fortunately and unfortunately, so many that need us.
Right.
That we don't linger.
And it also saves me from having 50 million cats in my house. Because I know hopefully these little guys are short term, and I can love on my 3 adults or my 2 adults and kitten. But, and have so much fun with the kittens. But then they're going to a good home.
Yeah.
So I can save some more.
I do my best when I lose them. I like writing. You guys, you see me write stuff and write up posts and everything. I do my best to take those moments and try to educate, like the people that left the kittens in the carrier and it got wet. I feel like people don't know how much damage that does, and how if you do that, you've doomed them. You're not setting them down somewhere for someone to find them. If they get cold.
Don't be a coward.
No, it's just you have an opportunity to set them up for success, and doing something like that has a ripple effect of pain that you should be aware of. And I always want to sort of take that moment and try to at least get more people aware of what really is happening when they make those sorts of choices.
Yes.
Because it's not only unfair for the kittens, but it's unfair for you guys, for people that put so much time and energy into undoing the wrongs. So we appreciate you guys. You do a good job. So when you get back into fostering, what are some things that you just couldn't imagine getting through without? Like you mentioned the new preemie bottles that Amy just got. You've mentioned your incubator. And then you love your miracle nipples. What are some things where it's just like, this makes it easy, this makes it doable for me?
Well, you have the equipment, you have your heating pad, you have your scale, we have our charts. And your roll of paper towel, have it all set up, and all your little meds, if they're on meds, everything in hand's reach in your room. I use baby blankets. I've collected, about 25 of them, and they get washed, and I use just baby fuzzy blankets. And
I don't think you could foster if you didn't have a washer and dryer at your home.
oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It is going nonstop at my house. But I have big puppies, so it's
Yeah.
big
Right.
messes. And if I was using paper towels to clean up everything,
Mine are little messes.
right. So yeah, ample supply of towels.
Well, I will
Yes.
say you lent me a bottle warmer for for one of my litters, and I was like, "This is life changing. How did I get through without using one of these before?" So there's definitely still stuff out there that I'm.
Oh, I want a baby wipe warmer.
Okay.
That's, I've been looking for them, and
Second,
I'm checking out my kids that have had babies before, and I'm going, okay, give me.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes you go to stimulate and it's got a warm.
Yeah,
I feel so bad
I
sometimes.
know.
They're cold.
Yeah, I at one point put a heating pad over it. Yeah, but usually it's in my hands. But yeah, I hate the baby wipes that are cold. I want a baby wipe holder warmer.
Yeah, I'm usually just sitting there with the water running on hot with a paper towel, and I'm feeding one, and then I get the paper towel wet with the warm and wipe them, put them down, let them do the business, move on to the next one.
Yeah, the cold bottles, the ones that, the Yetis or something,
Yeah.
I'll fill it up with the warm water and it stays warm, but.
Yeah. Anything that makes it a streamlined process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get them fed, get them pooped, and then clean them up, and then you have time to play with them and socialize them.
The best part,
The best
the
part.
good part.
Makes it worth it.
So you fall in love with all of them, and I'm sure you wish you could keep all of them, but obviously we can't. But I know that personally, people tell me all the time, especially like people that don't know me, they'll be like, "Oh, you should keep them. They're so cute. You have to keep them. How could you ever give them back?" What would you unfiltered say to those people? Because I know we have our filtered response, but like, what would you really like for people to know when they're saying that?
Nah, I don't like it that much. It's just for a shock value. No, there's a home for it, a better home, because you can't have, you can have too many. You can't have too many.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yes, but I'm sarcastic and nah.
Yeah.
I'll be dropping them off at your house.
I always just tell people, I'm gonna hold on to this one until there's a home better than mine.
Yeah.
And there always is a home better than mine, because like you said, you can only have so many animals, and I
Yes.
have a lot. And it's great that I have so many dogs, they socialize the puppies that I have, and they correct them,
Absolutely.
and since they don't have a mother, they do it. So that's really good, and they teach them, how to go outside and do what they need to do and to be dogs. But I don't have enough room in my bed for all of these dogs.
Absolutely.
They should be in somebody's bed.
Yes.
They should have that good life and to do, ride shotgun in the car and all this. And so as soon as I find that home that looks like it's gonna treat them like a family member, they're gonna live inside, they're gonna go for a ride in the car, they can sleep on your bed. As soon as I hear somebody say, "How is your dog about getting up on the couch?" I'm like, "Oh, this one's not
No.
for you. This is not for you. There might be another dog, but all of mine are on the furniture, so."
Yes. I socialize the kittens because they have to travel. So, I'm always sneaking them into my yoga class. My work, which was Leon County Public Schools, I was always a carrier, and everybody would file through. I have a big family in town, and we were just at a birthday party. The kittens came with me.
But that's nice because
yeah.
it doesn't just socialize them. It gets your family and your community
Yes.
involved and helps educate and spread the word on all these cute little kittens.
Oh, yes,
that
I have
so
my
neat.
spiel. Oh, I'm fostering this baby because mama couldn't, and I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And people think it's a lot harder than it is. I mean, it is hard to get up and be tired and
Parts
your
of
house
it's
become
hard.
a disaster and everything, which it does. But it's really not that hard. Like, fed ours at 2 o'clock. They don't need fed again until 6. We have time to come here, time to go to the gym or whatever you want to be doing. You can fit it in if it's important to you.
If you're good with time management, it really is. And if you're able to streamline the process, like you said. And
Oh,
get
yes,
into a
that's most
groove.
important.
Yeah. The
Is-
first few days will be hard. But then you'll find
Get them on the weekend.
your groove.
Yeah.
Right.
But-
And then a lot of times you hear too, oh, my dog would never accept another dog, or my cat would never accept another cat in this house. It's like, well, you do need to understand the personality of the animal that you already have because they were there first and protect their space. But what I've found is as long as I bring puppies or kittens
Yes.
in, they're good. It's when I bring adults into an adult situation that might not go so well, then you just kind of have to manage that. But that's why I like bottle babies.
I do
Yes.
All
have,
my animals will take them.
Yes.
I do have one cat who, for some reason, just hates babies. I mean, he barely knows that they're there whenever I do have bottle babies, but he'll just like walk by, and if one of them like does a little mew, he'll hiss. It's the silliest thing in the world. I mean, he's not. I mean, but even then, he's not mean. He's just like,
Yeah.
there's something in here, and I don't like it.
Right, you're not staying.
You're not staying. My like grumpiest boy was the biggest fan of the kittens, and the kittens all like loved him. It's sometimes it's the ones that you think would never accept it that end up getting softened by the little ones too.
And I hate that first walking into the kitchen with new babies because my two, well, I have 3 now, but my 2 older cats, they knew the carrier, and they
Like,
would
"Oh,
give
this
me the stink eye. Oh,
Not again.
it's like, yeah, okay. But yeah, his.
Yeah. Well, I always tell people that just tell me to keep them all. It's funny how people don't understand that there is a limit to humane care with the amount of animals that are there. I mean, there just is. You can't possibly be providing good quality care to a certain number of animals past a point. So, you know, stop telling me to keep them all. I have 7 and I love them and I want to love them the way that I currently do. And I want these guys to get the love that they deserve. So it's so silly because they tell you to keep them because they love that you love them. And it's like,
Right.
you could just love them for me, you know.
Right.
But all of my kittens' last names are Foster.
Mm.
You know, Honey Foster, you know, Mac Foster. So, and they go, make them a Fordham, make them a Fordham. I said, no. There's a good home there for
Yeah.
them.
And plus, when you get them adopted, you get to keep fostering. I know that we
Yes.
have a
Oh,
few
yes.
fosters right now that are worried they're going to end up keeping them and then they won't be able to accept more animals into their home. And that's, you know, one versus who knows how many that you could save if you're able
Absolutely.
to say goodbye
That's-
to them.
And, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, but that puppy loves you so much. How could you, don't you worry that puppy thinks that you
Oh,
abandoned them
so
and give it to
mean.
someone else? And initially, you might think that if you're thinking that they're like actual people, but they just love everybody. And if you care for them, they're going to love you and they're going to be happy there. And I've had certain, like the very first puppy I fostered, I ended up adopting him, that's Spike. And his sister Sadie got adopted out, and then that family just moved, I guess it was in October. And I had not seen Sadie since then, and she was about 5 now. So I went and I met the adopter so I could see Sadie and say goodbye to the foster, because we had kept in touch and shared pictures and things. And that dog remembered me. She
they do.
remembered the car, the sound of the car and everything before we even got there. She was like going crazy and ran up and gave us hugs and kisses, me and my husband both. So we're like, okay, I know this dog was extremely happy where she was, and she was extremely happy to see me too, and that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, that's enough. So
Yeah.
people should know, you know, you foster, don't feel bad giving them to a great home. They're going to be happy and they're still going to love you and they're not going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
You
There
go
doesn't need
right.
to be a limit on love. There really
Right.
doesn't. Not for animals, not for people. there is no limit. It keeps going. So I think it's pretty obvious. I think that we've covered it, but why do you foster? What is the most important thing that keeps you fostering and keeps you going?
Well, I love cats. I was born becoming a crazy cat woman, working in a school system. Whenever we had career day, I said, well, I'm growing up to be a crazy cat woman, and this way I can be my crazy cat woman, and I don't have the $50,000 at home. I know that I'm moving them out to wonderful homes, and I'm saving more. So this is my way of only having 3 at home and having all the kittens, because, you know, I've probably, since 1999, I've probably done more than 250.
Oh, I'm sure that's true, because what did I have for you? I had
58
since 2017.
Right,
So since
so-
1999. I mean, that's
Well, that's the first couple batches were squirrels, but
we'll count them.
we started with squirrels until the St. Francis Wildlife. We started with squirrels, and then somebody brought in a kitten, and then that was just it, kittens. So.
What about you, Lynn?
I do it just because I get a lot out of it myself. I just really love it. I would rather have a messy house than a super clean house and not do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there are trade-offs, but I just love it. And another reason, I don't see that many people stepping up. So if not me, who's going to do it? Is how I look at it too.
Mm-hmm.
So if Amy comes to me and says, "Here's a neonate that needs somebody, can you take it?" I'm going to say yes, because she's not going to ask me if she knew there was somebody else, because she knows I have a ton at my house as it is. So I'm going to do it. Yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, I was just talking to you before we started recording, and I feel like every time I'm like, well, who has this puppy? Where's this puppy at? I feel like she always says Lynn. Always there.
Yeah.
And then, you're right, not enough people do step up, and you guys are stars because you're always ready to take on more, but we need more people that are like you, that are willing to step up and have this experience, and we know that it's worth it. What do you think makes for like a good foster? What do you think describes someone who should be looking into this and getting involved? What type of person?
It takes a special person. They have to have a work environment. You know, when you're working, you have to have a work environment that you can hide the kittens under your desk, or
A boss that likes animals.
yes.
Yeah.
And you have to have support, and you have to know that you have the support of the vet if you need them. I mean, just, you know, I have a lot of people saying, "Oh, I want to do it," and I said, "Well, come spend a couple days with me. Come, you know, and see if you really want to do it, because, you know, I don't want to be responsible for somebody doing it and then not liking it."
And I mean, that does happen.
Yeah.
People sign up to do it and realize that there's a lot more involved, and
It's a lot of work.
it is a lot of work, yeah. Especially bottle babies. I firmly believe not everyone is meant to be a bottle baby foster. You can be another type of foster. You might be meant to be some, you know, a different group, but
Or older.
yeah.
Yeah, we have some foster that, you know, from 3 weeks on, they'll take as many as they want, but there's, you know, bottle babies, they're a lot of work and they're fragile.
I only do like maybe a litter a year of bottle babies, and even then, like, there are some years where I just can't do it. I've got too much on my plate, and I like hospice fostering. I like doing short-term fostering. Like, there are ways to get into it and find your niche, but what do you think makes Lynn for like a good bottle baby foster? What sort of person?
You need to be someone that has good time management.
Right.
and can multitask, because you've got to multitask while you're doing it in order to be prepared and set up for the next feeding and always prepared. You need to really have a keen eye for as soon as that puppy or kitten turns the corner. I mean, you've got to look every single time I'm feeding them. I'm pulling up the scruff of their neck to see if they look like they're dehydrated, whether they're eating enough or not.
An experienced
Right.
eye.
And you really need to have a buddy system. And I know we were going to talk about this maybe later, but I'll talk about it now. Fostering got a whole lot easier for me once my partner Dana came on board. And she was a longtime foster with the Humane Society, took a little bit of a break, and then I was doing it, and then she came back. So Amy kind of paired us up together. And it's worked out great. And we have since expanded to maybe 4 or 5 other different people. And it's great because people who are a little bit afraid of being bottle baby fosters, they get tired more quickly, they get burnt out more quickly, and we can say, okay, you need a break, give it back to me, I can handle it. And then you reach out to someone else and say, hey, could you maybe just take my bottle baby during the day, and I'll take a nap during the day, and I'll take him back, and then I'm ready to go all night. And then they feel confident because they're able to handle it for 8 hours during the day. They know if something happens, you're going to scoop them right back up. It's just kind of worked out for everybody. It's kind of bringing up the next generation of people that feel confident to do it, while also giving you a little bit of a break. And although the Humane Society has this great thing of where you're going to go on vacation and you need to find somebody to cover you, if you already have 5 or 6 people that you can reach out to without even going to that,
Yes.
it makes it feel a whole lot better. You don't feel like you're tied down to this puppy or kitten that I can't do anything for the next 4 months because I've got this.
Yeah.
That's not true. You've got a whole bunch of people that will help you, and that's nice.
And that train of thought burns you out quicker too. When you feel trapped, when you feel like you're stuck, that's a great way to get burnt out. But when you know that you have all this support and people willing, then that pressure isn't there.
We have a 5th wheel, and so we don't use hotels or anything. We go where we want to state parks, and everybody just goes with us. And so when we vacation a couple of weeks, they just go with us. So it's the 2 older cats. They've been traveling since they were tiny, so
Yeah.
they just but
But it's nice though when you have
yes.
a network of people, because like recently some of the puppies we took in, there was an outbreak of parvo with a few of them. We had them all separated out in pairs, but a few of the pairs had an outbreak of parvo, and it was really easy because we could all communicate with one another, say, okay, you have to separate your puppy from the other puppy you have, okay, I'll take that puppy, and then you take this one, and you take these, and it just made it really easy. It didn't become a major crisis, which it could have if you didn't know everybody.
I mean, honestly, the fact you're talking about parvo without panicking is impressive right now.
That's not good.
Once you catch it early enough, and it's not bad.
Yeah,
I mean, you just have to know whenever you see that, this one's fading, this one, go get it checked quick.
Yes.
It's when you don't get it checked and when you don't. And I think even when I was first starting out, I was a little bit scared to call Amy and tell her, say, I don't know, this one is choking a little bit, or this one is doing this, that, she would think, oh, you're messing up, or you fed that one too quickly, or this. But there's no judgment there. It's all just learning, and you have to not be afraid to reach out to somebody else and say, oh, this one, I did this, or this one did that, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
It's all about saving them.
If you define yourself as a worrier, like you worry about things all the time, you are actually probably you're going to be a good bottle baby foster.
I think
you can't overthink it, really.
Right.
It's okay if every little thing that they're doing is like...
Yes, how many times we're sitting in the veterinarian and they go, oh, we're going to get to you, I say, hey, I'm comfortable.
I basically live here.
Yeah.
Right.
got the bottle. You might have to warm the bottle to give me a hot, cup of water, but or give me a cup of coffee.
Two in one.
Yeah. When we travel and we got bottle babies, I go in and get a cup of coffee and then oh yay. Warms the bottle up and
That's clever. I like that.
you do it. Usually it's a Yeti, a cup that is insulated and hot water, and then by the time I need it, it's so.
I saw in the LCHS approved fosters group, it just made my heart melt when I saw somebody post saying, does anyone need like a break from fostering this weekend? We'd be happy to help. And I was like, oh, how do I clone that person? How do I make that post appear once a week?
Well, that's somebody that wants to help, but they don't have the full-time capability to do it. So yeah, they want, it's like having grandchildren. I'll take her for the day, but
I gotta give them back, yeah.
I'm done.
But that's really nice. I wish we could get more people on board with being able, because I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of the time people sign up to foster for short-term things, and that's not always helpful. Like it's good to give fosters relief, but generally, I mean, that means putting an animal into a home, having them adjust, and then taking them right back out and putting them in another home. So sometimes that's not the best thing, but with bottle babies, it's almost ideal to have people that are able to hand off and give each other breaks.
Yeah, carrier will travel.
Yeah, they really will.
I found the little pal friend that you throw in the microwave and warm it up for 2 minutes.
Yes. I have that.
Yeah, I used, somebody gave it to me, and that is the best. That's another, you just wrap it up in a blanket and put it in there in another blanket, and they'll travel.
Do you like those ones or the heartbeat ones? Can you warm up the heartbeat ones? I've never tried.
The heartbeat ones have the little
Battery.
Yeah, it's the battery for the actual heartbeat, but then it has like the hot hands thing.
Yes, the bags that you can put in.
The hot hands.
That's right.
Okay. I got the heartbeat one. I didn't think about hot hands.
Yeah, the hot hands goes inside it, and then it stays warm.
Yeah.
And that's how you travel, because they have to be on the heating pad
Yes.
all the time. So if you have to go somewhere, then having the little hot hands is really helpful. What is something that you wish everybody just knew about fostering? Like if you had a megaphone and I could make it so everybody heard that, what would you shout?
It's hard, but it's so worth it. Look at this face. I mean, everybody. You bring a kitten or puppy out, and everybody. I mean, I have had people follow me in Walmart when I'm getting supplies, and the kittens. When they get old enough, I leash train mine, and they sit in the baby part of and I'll have. And I educate as I go. Oh, this is Ladybug. She's a foster. We'll be looking for a home soon. And they follow you around.
I'm so proud of them too when I've got them. Like I went through a Dunkin' Donuts drive-through and they saw the carrier and they're like, "What do you have in here?" And I whipped my bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, look at him.
Yep, did that with Yeah. Is there an animal in there with you?
Oh, there sure is. Let me introduce you.
Hand them through the window and they get passed around. Yeah, they get passed around and then you see them. You give them back and you see everybody running around.
Yes, doing their hand sanitizer. I was like, if their hands are clean enough to make my food, then they can help this baby.
Oh yeah, pictures. Can I take pictures? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I just like everyone to know that it isn't that big of an adjustment to your life. Yeah. More people could do it. It is not this monumental effort that the rest of us are doing. There's always a little spot in your house where they can go to, get acclimated. There's always a foster out there that's going to fit in with whatever pet or whatever schedule you have.
It is more having like a can-do attitude.
Right.
Like there are people that just, they're not willing to make those adjustments in their home. And, that's okay, I guess. There are other ways to help. There's volunteering. There's, donations. I'm going to put in the description of this video a donation link with all of the supplies that we talked about here today so that you can help that way. But it really is just about being willing to make it work.
Try it, you'll like it. Yeah, try it. I mean, even if you have a guest room bathroom, a bathtub,
Yeah.
you with the heating pads, you can make it warm enough. And I know, I know kittens could grow up there.
They can, yeah. They can't get out for quite a
That's
while.
right. That's the best.
Yeah.
Just don't forget they're there.
Set your phone alarm.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they can. You can find a spot for them.
Or several spots if you're lit.
Yes. Yes. Now that I have retired, I'm thinking, okay, once I get off of one baby, the kittens are growing up, then maybe I can take some more baby bottle babies because, like you said, they're in a spot.
Right, you separate them out.
Right.
It's just kind of like.
And there will always be some people that just aren't willing to do the bottle. So once they're done with that, they're on the solid food, then they can be handed off and then you can help the next.
Right, since I do now have the time and I'm not worried about, the traveling with them at work and between the husband and I'll be able to take more. Bigger litters instead of the 1 and 2 and 3. I can take bigger litters. Little litters.
Little litters.
Yes, and have the playful kittens and then having the bottle babies.
What is the biggest litter you've taken in? Because I mean, it takes time to get through them when you're doing the feedings.
Oh yes. It was a late Saturday night with the five boys. The five
Tabby
kittens.
boys.
The Tabby boys. Ralph, John, William, they had the easy names. That was the biggest litter, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, my husband would do it during the day, but I did take 5, and I think I had 18 kittens at that little long season. I think it was a spring season. And I think I had 18 kittens, went through 18 kittens because they were all 5 and 4 and it just...
They add up.
Yes, somebody dropped them off at my son's house and
What about you, Lynn? What's the biggest litter?
I've had 6 puppies at one time just for 2 days.
Okay.
And then they got separated out. But for actually growing them up from bottle babies to adoption, 4 is the max.
4. Yeah, that's a lot too.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just, all the puppies that have been coming up for foster bottle babies, and I'm going, and I just don't know versus the potty pads in the litter box.
Personally, like I said, I swear to you, I think puppies are easier than kittens.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, yes, because they are bigger and they can eat more, and it's every 4 hours instead of every 2 to 3 hours. So you're actually able to sleep and be a sane human being for a little while. But I think puppies are so much easier.
So
and they
I'm
just
saying,
use the puppy pad for. They're good about going to the bathroom on the puppy pad up until the point that they start being able to wander around the kitchen. So at about 6 weeks and beyond, then that's where the work comes in about having to clean a lot. But.
I just can't make that step yet because I think of the potty training with the puppies. Whereas, litter box,
Yeah, it is easier.
I don't know. I'd have to try the puppies in order to.
I think of puppies as hardier too.
Okay.
Like, just in general, they just seem to have a little more heft to them. And it makes me a little less nervous.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had to tube feed a kitten, have you?
Yes.
Okay, see, I tube fed a puppy and that was frightening enough for
That
me.
it's very
terrifying.
That it was. Yes. That was. Am I doing it right? Yeah.
Right. You're so
If it
little.
meows after the tube's in, you're doing it right. Okay. Meow.
Yeah,
That was
stressful.
rough. Yeah.
And I mean, that's another time that like our network of fosters comes in handy because my last litter of 3, 2 of them, great eaters, real good. And then one of them, Lazarus. He just, he would not latch, he would not eat. He was just difficult. And Tiffany at Paws and Claws, she's a foster. She was like, I think he's going to need to be potentially tube fed. And I was like, well, I've never done that before. That's so scary to me. And I've still got these 2 that I've got to keep feeding. And she was like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll take him. I got it. I've done it before. And I was like, I wish I had your confidence. But she was so nice. She took him, she got him eaten again, and then handed him back off to me. And she was like, there you go. It was amazing.
Actually, you put the tube down and you put their syringe in, and they're done. They're not. Yeah, but. Just doing it is
Getting
just
beyond that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mental hurdle over
Yes,
anything,
it's
really.
yes. I can also administer the vaccines now because I've had to fluid feed a cat, and so that doesn't bother me any. I mean, I don't do it. I'm not here,
Yeah, I don't love doing it. But
I don't
can
love
do
doing it, but
yeah.
you know, I've done diabetic cats, and I've done the fluids with the IVs, and so you know, you learn a
I
lot
was
of
gonna say, the
stuff.
point is you learn, so you don't
Yeah.
have to know how to do all this stuff
Oh,
to start
no.
out. You're gonna figure it out, or you'll find somebody that knows how to do it. And
There's
And
always
they
someone
help-
willing
and
to
they-
help.
Yeah, and they help you out until you feel comfortable.
There's always something to learn, but there's always people willing to teach. It's a little scary, but it's also really empowering to be like, oh, I figured out how I can give fluids. I can do
Oh, yeah.
this. I can keep this cat going. I can make them feel good. This puppy, I can do this for them. It is really nice when you're able to overcome something like that and get it done.
And this is a sad thing I'm gonna share.
That's
but
okay.
I think it's worth sharing. So we had, I had a litter of 4 puppies that I shared with Dana. And there was one little puppy, her name was Zoe, and she had a hard time, like from the get-go. We had to tube feed her, she had coccidia, there was just a lot wrong with this little puppy. But she was such a fighter, and she made it through, and she was the spunkiest little thing. Did great. She died on the table during her spay.
Oh.
And it was the worst phone call I ever got. I was driving somewhere, and Amy's like, pull over, I have to tell you something. I was like, oh no, please no. But I felt horrible, of
Right.
course, when it happened. Because, this is gonna sound strange, this was really the only little puppy. Normally, every time I send him into some kind of surgery, I'm always like praying, oh please, the surgeons know what they're doing, please let everything go okay. And I didn't this time because she had overcome so much. And I
Right.
felt like we are out of the woods. This
She
puppy
is.
great. We were on our way to a new home. She had a home lined up even. So it really kind of knocked the wind out of all of us. But sitting in the vets when we went to pick up the other puppies, because they were all spayed and neutered the same day, we were in a room with the vets that were attending and everyone that helped during that surgery, and everybody had a good cry and everybody was upset. And to me, that made me feel good that our partners are just as upset when one of our little ones passes.
Right.
Or,
Yeah.
and nobody knew what happened. They figured she just maybe had a bad heart and
Right.
didn't know. But even though that was a horrible, horrible experience
Yeah, and I
that
mean,
you don't wish on anybody,
they don't let them go easy either.
No,
They do everything to bring them back
they
if that
really
happens
do.
too.
And it just makes you feel like that puppy or kitten was worth it to you, and it was also worth it to the people that you entrusted them with, and that is a good feeling.
It's hard when something like that happens, but it's never for lack of love. It's never for lack of trying. It's just because sometimes life's unfair.
Right. And that was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I mean, I've had like the fading puppy and the fading kitten and all of that, but once they're
It's difficult
Yeah.
in its
3
own
months
way.
old, you
Yeah.
don't think there's anything gonna happen
Yeah,
at this point.
that was like,
Yes.
the little guy that had the reflux, and you're going, he was so healthy, now he can't hold food down. I mean, are we gonna have to bottle feed you forever? And no, we figured it out, so.
Yeah.
um,
Pivoting to a happy note, I would love to know, like, describe to me everyone that's in your home, like each puppy, each kitten. I want to know personality-wise. I want to know their names. I want to know your favorite. I want to know the spunky one.
Might take us a long time for you.
Foster-wise, you're talking.
Foster-wise. And maybe foster fail. I mean, we got Spike. We talked about him a little, but.
Yeah. So yes, Spike is the foster fail, and he is the nanny. He loves every bottle baby that comes in, whether it's a dog or a kitten, and he helps raise all of them. He loves them. And then as far as the fosters, I've got Loretta, who's a little lab, probably pit mix. She's 3 months old, and she is super confident, very sweet. She will sleep with you and wrap her body around your neck, kind of like a wolf would do. And then her little sister, Piper, she is the sweetest little thing and just bouncy and happy. She is more, subordinate than Loretta. And then we have 3 little Chihuahuas that'll be ready for adoption soon. We've got Paco, Pablo, and Pedro. Is that right? No, Poncho. Sorry.
Oh boy.
And they are just the cutest little things. They are purebred, and they are just hoppy, bouncy, loving, sweet little. I'm not normally a small dog person. I like big dogs, but these guys have kind of won me over because they are so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the little bottle baby Solo, who is 3 weeks old now, and he's just finding his little voice now.
Mm-hmm.
But he still can't walk forwards. He walks backwards. Very cute. That's all he can do.
And
is
then
back up.
roll
Yeah.
out.
How old is Solo?
About 3 weeks.
3 weeks. So cute.
Very cute.
Well, I have 3 babies, 3 kittens, and they're between 4 and 5 weeks. Of course, it's hard we estimate how old they are. And I think they'll be 5 weeks, and they're just starting to eat real food. Yeah, the gruel. They're still trying to suck. Still being bottle fed. They're all orange and white.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Copper, who has swallowed a lawnmower. He purrs. And he's cuddly. He's gonna be a lap cat.
Mm-hmm.
He's just purrs. And then we have Mac and Cheese, because orange and white. And Mac is the man of the group. He walked first. He ate first. He used the litter box first, and he's now chasing the young. We have a 7-month-old kitten. And if he gets out the door, he's down the hallway with that kitten. It's always
play with the big
escaping.
boys.
He wants to play with the big girl. And then we have Honey, and she's the Peter Pan. She doesn't, Peter Pan doesn't want to grow up. She has not started to eat. She does use the litter box next to it.
So close.
But
How old is she?
Pardon?
How old is she?
They're coming up on 5 weeks.
Do you ever think, because I know that sometimes you'll have, cats can carry a litter where some of them are a few days ahead of the other ones.
She is smaller. The 2 boys, of course, usually males are a little larger. They're over 1 pound now. Mm-hmm. And she's struggling with 15 ounces. But it's a possibility.
They're all orange and white, but it's a possibility.
It's a possibility. It's, they're just, and they're so cute because they're, I call it karate. When they're learning how to play, it's all in slow motion. So we put karate sounds to them. Oh, take this. But that's it. They're at that point where.
I love that age. It's really cute.
It's cute. Except for Mac, he's running down the hallway. You open the door and
Yeah, nothing slow about
Yeah.
Mac.
hoping the carrier to get them out to feed them. So
And I'm always surprised how early they start purring. Like,
they will purr at a couple days old.
they will.
Mhm.
It's so cute. Oh,
And I have 3 foster fails. 2 of them are 9. And up until a few months ago, I hadn't foster failed. And then Ladybug came. But
Yeah.
what they have in common is they were all single kittens.
yes.
Those are so hard to get rid of. Give them up. They just, because you got them, you're carrying them like a baby all the time.
I think
'Cause you
I
don't wanna
knew.
be
It was the Subaru event, right? You brought Ladybug in a little carrier
Yeah.
to Subaru, and I saw Susan with Ladybug, and I went, "Oh, she's keeping that cat."
I had a big coming soon.
Yes, yeah. All the signage, I was just like, yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was make him a Fordham already. But she is one of the bigger cats. The male cat is teaching her all bad manners. And they're so funny together. The 9-year-old and the 7-month-old, they get the zoomies, and it
Yeah.
just makes you laugh.
It does.
So,
Yeah, until they're like 2 years old, they're sort of like little velociraptors, but they're cute little velociraptors.
yes. I'm finally healed.
Yeah.
Until the new batch.
Until they figure it out.
Yes. But I'm proud. I didn't foster fail. Jack and Dottie were one of the first few, and they were singles, and that was the downfall. And then Ladybug.
Ladybug's just so brave.
She is.
She is.
Yeah.
She's special. I'll give it to you. Yeah, she's real special. Is Spike your only foster fail, Lynn?
No.
Oh.
No. I have Spike, and then I have little Lily, and I call her Little Lily because we already have a Lily at our house. And this one that I fostered was already named Lily, and I wasn't planning to keep her. But then we did, so then we just kept her Little Lily. So we got Lily and Little Lily. And then Daisy. Daisy was born the day before I got her. I was fostering a pregnant mom, but she gave birth right before I got her. So I had the mom and the puppy. And then the mom got adopted out. The puppy got adopted out, but returned within like a week. And the puppy came back, and she was a changed dog. And when I picked her up, she was I got the impression that maybe she was left in the garage and not given water, that the people may be upset that she was peeing in the house. She was limping also for a few days after I got her back. And then we just didn't let her go after that.
Yeah,
It was just a bad
that's hard.
Yep, and then I have 2 cats that are foster fails. One is Guinness and one is Zeus. So we don't discriminate, we fail on all of them.
It's very hard coming up with names.
Yeah. What's your secret? How do you pick the names?
It just, okay, they're orange cats, orange and white.
I love food names.
Yeah, let's go with, because I think I've only had one other orange foster, and so I know, let's have fun. Princess Peach, so having the granddaughter, she turned 4, and watching a lot of the Disney movies now. I've had the Trolls and the Lord of the Rings, and so now I start thinking of group names. So
yeah, you get so into it that I do. I'm watching a movie and they'll say a character's name and I'm like, oh, that's a good cat name. That's a good puppy name. Yeah.
Yeah, but Jamie was the other little orange cat, and it was Jamie and Claire because I had just finished reading Outlander, you know, with Jamie and Claire. And so, yeah, coming up with the names are hard.
Yeah. I try to think about too when they'll be adoptable, because sometimes, like, I see all the time fosters will get kittens like around Halloween. Like, we had two kittens named Trick and Treat, which is very cute at Halloween. But they were not adoptable at Halloween. They were adoptable in December. So December, Trick and Treat moved into the cat cafe. And I was like, how? And then Treat got adopted. So I just had Trick.
Oh!
So I try to keep in mind too, like, down the line, try to think a couple months in advance, which is hard too sometimes.
Yeah, Jack was a fall baby, so he was Jack in the Box.
Mm-hmm.
He even came when you had a trick or treat thing on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Little tissue box, and I put a little clown, and he came in my the tissue box. So he's always been Jack in the Box. So he became Jack. So
sometimes it's like they pick their own names too.
yes.
Yeah.
So.
All right. And then that brings us pretty much to the end of our Bottle Baby Foster podcast. Is there anything we didn't touch on that you ladies would like to make sure goes out to our listeners?
I think you covered it.
Yeah, I think you guys did a great job. And I am so grateful for not only what you do, but for taking the time to do this, because I know for a fact, and now everyone knows, you don't have a whole lot of free time. So, so I really appreciate it. And I hope that people that are listening are either intrigued and want to get into bottle baby fostering, or are interested in giving you guys what you need so that you can keep going, or even want to meet your fosters, start monitoring our website for when they're available for adoption. And yeah, I'm so grateful to everybody that's listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you.